Oh, hello, Tassel. Good evening. Let me minimize this. Let me see if that takes away some of the. It's better. I'm gonna put the. I was gonna say Opie and Anthony. I meant to say Anthony Cumia show. I'm gonna listen to it in a few minutes. Just getting some stuff here ready. Hello, Theo. Nice to see you. So today I'm gonna do it with the boombox. Anthony Cumia with the boombox. Let me lower the volume. I charge the batteries. Yeah, stream number 200 officially.
I don't want to buy from you anymore. That was the end of the industry. That's it. It's over. And when you watch what's going on right now with the advent of online shopping, which is extraordinary, anything I need, the first thing I do is I look to Amazon. But I will tell you, when it comes to fashion, unless I'm looking for a commodity iron like a t-shirt that I don't care what brand it is, I'm not going to Amazon. Amazon has brands, but they don't have the full assortment that you'll find in a department store or a specialty store. If you want a Nike sneaker, Amazon very well may have a Nike sneaker, but they won't have the range. You go to Champs, you'll see everything from Nike if they want to buy it. So Amazon has.
Yeah, this radio is definitely is worth the money. I paid what it was, $46 and change. QFX is not known for the quality stuff, but I really like this radio. It's rechargeable. You have rechargeable batteries in there too. Rechargeable batteries. Also, of course, you got cassette. Cassette play works fine. I don't have no issue with the cassette. You can play MP3s, SD card, or USB stick. So it has old technology and new tech, as you can see, more modern tech. Shortwave bands. It has 2 shortwave bands, so it's pretty good. I'm gonna be as soon as Opie and Opie. I can say I was gonna say Opie and Anthony. Anthony Cumia starts. I'm gonna just let it play. My son is playing upstairs. If you hear a little noise, okay, but it's gonna be loud enough where you can still hear it.
Anthony, I hope you're the greatest merchants in the world. I hope you have people that know how to plan merchandising, because anything you stuck with.
There's another 4 minutes before the top of the hour. Yeah, Bluetooth also. Yeah. I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Tasso. Hello, Theo Alfredo Monteroso. Hope you're doing well. And of course, Tasso. Hope you're doing well.
If I was TJ Maxx, I would be the toughest negotiator in the world. I wouldn't make it easy for any manufacturer. Yes, I would covet your brand. Yes, Van Heusen is great for my custom. But if it wasn't Van Heusen, I'd find a different brand. Unless you are smart, unless you know how to manage the business, you're going to have your hands full going into the future. There's no channel of distribution that hasn't struggled at one point or another. Walmart this year said they're taking down their earnings number. Walmart, they never have problems. The future of retail is going to be from the brands, multi-brand stores like Macy's, like Kohl's, like Target, like Walmart, like Bergdorf's, like Saks, like Neiman's, like Nordstrom. All of these retailers putting together the best assortments with the best brands and having the best working relationships with their vendors to maximize those businesses. Will they? Remains to be seen. The future of retail is also in the hands of people who have their name over the door. They have one brand in the store. It's called Zara, it's called H&M, it's called The Gap, it's called American Eagle Outfitters, who looks great continuously season after season. It's called my own name.
I'm just putting this, what's the eject button? Right here. I'm just putting this cassette in here because the glare. Of course, this is Tony Robbins. I'm not going to be playing that now. I'm just going to put it in there because too much glare. There you go.
It's online, and the world has yet.
Theo, listening lately. I've been listening to 9:30 a.m. out of Buffalo. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I used to hear that when I was up there. When I would go to Niagara Falls, I would hear that station too.
Next week. Talk to you soon.
So far away, doesn't anybody say what?
Oh, no music, please, no music. Let me try to tape for a minute before.
Hi, this is Tony Robbins. Welcome to Personal Power 2, The Driving Force. This is a special edition of Personal Power. I've had the privilege of sharing the best.
All right, there you go. Personal Power. All right. Oh, the other way. My bad. Rewind. Let me see if it auto stops. No, it doesn't auto stop. It stays like that. Wow. All right. Back to radio.
Ahead of the curve or need practical tech advice, make Rich your go-to expert. He's got the insider tips and tricks tech newbies and digital pros need to stay ahead of the game. Don't miss out on the best tech talk around with Rich on Tech. Sunday nights from 8 till 11, only on 710 WOR. WLIR Big 77 WABC News starts.
Sorry about that.
And some rain on this Sunday, March 16th. Good evening. I'm Liz Radabali. Another round of protests this weekend. Pro-Palestinian groups gathered over by Columbia University, mainly as a showing of support for a grad student facing possible deportation, Mahmoud Khalil. Khalil was arrested last weekend, accused of being a threat to American foreign policy due to his campus organizing.
Yeah, AM is great. It is great. It is great for that reason. To listen to long distance stations and all that. Theo, I love AM. I wish there was no FM. Well, I don't wish there was no FM. FM, it's FM. FM is fine too. Pulling in the weak stations gets me high. LOL. Oh my god.
After two bodies were found inside a home in Queens.
Okay, I'm gonna let it play for a while. I'm gonna be going up and down. So enjoy the Anthony Cumia show on WABC.
57-year-old man.
This is gonna be the second broadcast of it. I'm not gonna be doing this every week. I just want to do it for the first couple of them, and then after that,
Determined a firearm was recovered.
I figure I'm home on a Sunday night. Not the best weather out there. It's kind of grayish. It's been gloomy all day.
Looking for the hit-and-run driver.
So I'm gonna let it play for a couple hours.
Woman also in Queens. The New York Daily News reports it happened on
And
Friday
I'll
night
chime
around
in during the
9:30.
breaks.
She was crossing Northern Boulevard near Parsons in Flushing. Police say the dark-colored minivan was heading west along Northern Boulevard, and the woman was crossing the street mid-block when she was struck. More than 200 homes have been destroyed in wildfires in Oklahoma. One of the homes was Governor Kevin Stitt's farm home.
We'll be rebuilding with the rest of Oklahoma, and you never think it's going to happen to your place. And these wildfires just come out of nowhere and can really take over.
Stitt posted a video on social media showing him surveying what was little left of the home. Only a gun safe could be seen remaining in the rubble. Earlier in that day, he had toured other parts of the state where wildfires had also left widespread damage. President Donald Trump is rolling back 18 executive orders signed by former President Biden.
The White House claims it's an effort to reverse damaging policies and restore effective government. The now rescinded orders include the expansion of U.S. manufacturing and clean energy technology and an order focused on bettering labor standards. Trump also reversed Biden's order, raising the minimum wage of federal contractors to $15 an hour and rolled back orders to invest more government funds in the U.S. biotechnology industry. I'm Chris Coraggio.
Several members of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, have been denied access to the U.S. Institute of Peace. USIP officials say DOGE employees arrived unannounced with FBI agents over the weekend. Lawyers for the institute informed them that the USIP has a private and independent status as a non-executive branch agency. The DOGE employees and FBI agents were denied entry and left. SpaceX's Crew 10 mission is at the International Space Station.
Dragging contact and soft capture complete.
The space capsule containing 4 crew members docked at the ISS around 11 o'clock Eastern, nearly 30 hours after its launch from Cape Canaveral. The arrival of the new crew clears the way for astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore to come back home to Earth. The pair were scheduled to be on board the ISS for about a week, but their Boeing Starliner spacecraft was deemed unsafe for return to Earth, and they've been up there for over 9 months. Weather permitting, Williams and Wilmore, along with 2 Russian cosmonauts, will be heading back to Earth this Wednesday. In more news that's just out of this world, Elon Musk says SpaceX will be sending its Starship to Mars by the end of 2026. Musk says aboard the ship will be Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot. Along with the Mars announcement, the billionaire said over the weekend that if those landings go well, then human landings may start as soon as 2029, although 2031 is more likely. New data from the Federal Trade Commission shows Americans lost $5.7 billion last year due to investment scams. The majority of those who reported an investment scam to the FTC lost over $9,000 on average. The agency warns that scammers try to create a false sense of urgency, demand unusual payment methods like gift cards, and often use threats to try to keep victims from telling anyone else about the scam. More young people are looking to enter the home market.
An analysis from CoreLogic found Gen Z made up 13% of U.S. home mortgage applications last year. Many Gen Z home buyers are single, but nearly half of the applicants had co-applicants. The analysis also found that Gen Z home ownership was highest in the Midwest for 2024, while more expensive coastal metros lagged behind. I'm Jim Forbes.
And in some health news, city officials are saying raw food is what gave 2 house cats fatal cases of the bird flu. They are warning against the brand Savage cat food, which was linked to both those cases. They say the risk for humans still remains relatively low, but they are advising pet owners to avoid giving your animals any raw food or raw milk, and obviously try to keep them away from any dead birds. In sports, big win for the Johnnies. The Red Storm won the Big East Conference Tournament for the first time in 25 years. They came out on top over Creighton 82-66 from MSG, SJU now 30-4 on the season. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Overnight, it's going to be some rain with a low of 54. Tomorrow, rain continues with the sun coming out in the afternoon, high of 56. 57 and some rain outside our Midtown studios. I'm Liz Radabali. Remember, news never stops at WABCRadio.com.
Cumia Show, whipping out the First Amendment and holstering the Second. And again, we're asking, when you cross the line. Yeah. There we go. The Anthony Cumia Show live on this Sunday evening. How is everybody? Hope you had a great weekend up till now. I know technically it's still the weekend, but please, let's all be honest about Sundays. Saturday night happens. Even kind of getting into early Sunday morning, Saturday night, if you're still hanging out, you're just thinking, oh, Sunday. So I get it. That's why we all get together here for the Anthony Cumia Show and talk about all the wonderfulness happening in the world. What an uplifting program. Welcome, anyway. And like I said, I hope you did have a good weekend. I certainly did. I was out. I went out to dinner Friday night, and I had an experience that got me thinking about this country we live in, America, and how we were as a country, how we hope we can be again at some point as a country. But it's such a stark contrast to what we are as a country, especially in your bigger cities. You know, I left New York City because I just had it, like many people do. A lot of people don't have the capacity to just pick up and leave. I did. So I'm around Greenville, South Carolina, and I got to tell you, it's the difference in what you experience on a daily basis is so stark. It's just a huge change from New York, especially New York City. And when I came down here, a lot of people were like, well, you're going to miss the food at least, right? New York food. And I start thinking and going, no, I don't think I am, because the food hasn't been really good in New York in a while. I got to just be honest. Little Italy, right? You get your pasta. No. I go to a place in Little Italy. It's those aren't Italians working there. I assure you. You can go to Little Italy. You can go to an Italian place. You can go to whatever it is. There are a couple of great steakhouses in New York and some really good restaurants. I get it. But it's not like it was so many years ago, where if you left New York, you were settling for garbage pizza and horrible pasta and whatever kind of food you're into. It wasn't going to be as good. Well, that's not the case these days. I think, my theory is that during COVID especially, a lot of these chefs, a lot of these really good cooks in these famous New York City restaurants had it with the places being closed. Some of the states in the United States actually allowed people to open restaurants and act like human beings. So we got a lot of that all over the country. And down here, there's a lot of restaurants opening up that are very nice, very good food. And the service, this is the part that started getting me thinking. The whole experience, not just the food. We walked into this restaurant, it's packed, and there were no seats, tables, or at the bar. So, of course, we'll wait at the bar. You kind of stand there, you get a drink and hope for the best. And then I noticed there's this older couple, yes, believe it or not, older than me. And they're standing there, and they're looking at the bar, and they got a couple of drinks in their hands. And immediately, they're waiting too, and they were here first. They were waiting for the bar chairs to open up before we were. And I glanced over, and the guy glances over, and we give each other a head nod that completely works that out. We were both completely understanding of what was happening right at that moment. We both needed a seat for us and our significant other. They were there first, and without a word, we knew that was the case. It was common courtesy. You ever hear of that, kids? Common courtesy. Something that I started seeing on such a rare instance when I was living in New York and in the city. It just, everyone is like a jackal. You're waiting for a seat, and you're like a lion on the Serengeti, waiting to just disembowel a zebra for that seat. And I realized, that's something you don't see everywhere. That's something that seems to have gone to the wayside in this country. Things like courtesy, understanding. We didn't have to hash it out. We didn't need an interpreter to tell us what we understood, because we are both Americans, and we both know we live in a society that is based on things like courtesy and having a certain sense of morals, standards. You just understand what it's like to live in a civil society. And just watching that go away over the past few years, where everyone's out for themselves. And it struck me also in the bigger picture that it's a whole thing as far as this country goes. There are people that live here now because of legal or illegal immigration that don't care at all about America. And I'm not just talking the things we think about every day. You know, they don't like the government. They don't like the treatment they're getting. And they have to call everyone racist, or there's some problem. And the idea of waving a flag or putting a flag on your house, an American flag, is obscene to them. And that's a big part of what I'm talking about here too, because you have to understand what it is to be an American, to live in this country as an American. We've quickly gotten this misconception over the course of the years that because we live within a common border, that we're Americans. That's all it took. Like, hey, here we are. We live, and the map says I'm in America, so I'm an American. Meanwhile, I'll do anything I want. I'll bring horrible habits and cultures over from where I came from that are not conducive to living in this country, and I will not assimilate one bit. And I'll hold up the flag of my former nation, and I'll badmouth the country and its leadership and its people and its ideals. And yet they right away will jump and go, hey, I'm an American. I have rights. Don't say that or do that to me. But they don't embrace what it is to be an American, not just living in borders. There's a whole method to the madness of being American. We have the same or similar ideology, ethics, and morality. We can go off and have our own opinions on things. Obviously, that's been the way it's been for many, many years. But we understand things. We don't need this big conversation to just understand that there are certain ways to behave as Americans in a society. And some of those are unspoken, like the gentleman and his lady at that restaurant. We just knew that's what you do. There are plenty of laws in this country, and you will face the consequences if you break those laws. But honestly, is it really the consequences of those laws that keep you from breaking the laws? Or do you just know better? Are you just a better person? Do you realize when we put together this American society and it grew, that there was a certain sense of morality and a certain way we behave that goes unspoken. We don't need the laws. It's not like many people, I don't think, would harm other people or kill other people or steal from other people if it wasn't for the laws. You know, oh, the laws are there. That's the only reason I'm not doing this. No. We all know. We came to that agreement without it even having to really be written down. We just know that this is the way we act. We're charitable when need be. We're sympathetic and empathetic when need be. You know, we get pissed off and might say things and do things that we don't, because we don't agree with certain things. But on the whole, we were Americans, and this was something that lasted for quite some time. And we were raised that way. Our parents raised us that way. Even with some of their insane ideology, it got through. Right from wrong, things you do and things you don't do. And it just worked. And as we grew up, we understood that, and we grew into adulthood, and we got that we have to live with other people. And it's a lot easier if we go about that nicely and treat each other a little better. But there's just been this influx of people that have no concept of that. I don't know. Are they really to blame? Who knows? But it's just not a good thing. Selfish, arrogant, no sense of community whatsoever. And it's funny because they'll say that conservatives or Republicans have no sense of community because they seem cruel when it comes to things like welfare and bringing in uh, illegal aliens from horrible nations. Why are we so mean like that? No, because there are rules to be followed. And some people, like I said, they get here and they don't understand those unspoken rules. Sit back for a little while if you just got here. Soak it in. Take a few breaths of air and look around and see what it's like to really be an American before you just start grabbing up at everything that is good for you and not very good for the nation as a whole. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Nice weekend of realizing I kind of live in a nice place with nice people, and it reminded me of maybe what this country should be. It was at some point, but what it should be. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and we will rejoin you here with the Anthony Cumia Show. This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
Hello, Storms, Radios, and Cats. Hello, Different Gear TV. Hello, I think everybody else. Hello, TV Radio 972. I'm just live streaming the second consecutive week of Anthony Cumia on a Sunday night. It's a gloomy day out there with the cloudy and drizzly and whatever yucky weather right now. Supposed to get rain overnight. So I'm just hanging out here with you guys and just listening to my new show on Sunday nights. And yeah, this is the J220 BT boombox from QFX. I paid about $47, and I forgot it was about $47. Yeah, $46 and change for this boombox on Amazon. At the end of the live stream, I'll put the link to this product in the description if anybody were interested in ordering one of these. Under $50, a nice little radio. It is a nice little boombox. You know, has shortwave, medium wave, and of course FM. And you got your cassette player and all the modern MP3 stuff, and also Bluetooth, and also rechargeable, and also you can put C batteries. I'm trying to remember if it was C batteries or D batteries. Anyway, I don't want to move it from here because the focus is good. Anyway, back to
Janine for 10% off. Remember, Berna isn't legal in New York City or Yonkers. Stay safe. Stay prepared with Berna. Janine Pirro here with an urgent retirement warning. Even as Trump stands up to China, billionaires are fleeing Wall Street. But I trust the experts at Colonial Metals Group to help you. So visit freegoldguide.com/Pirro or call 800-965-8004 for your free gold guide on how to bulletproof your IRA and 401k with gold tax-free. You can also qualify for a free home safe and as much as $7,500 in free silver. That's freegoldguide.com/Pirro or call 800-965-8004.
Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Dominic Carter, City Hall. The numbers don't lie, folks. Trump signed 4 times the executive orders of Obama and Biden in his first month. Democrats talk, Trump is delivering. And let's talk about results. A 95% reduction in illegal border crossings. Not 10%, not 50%, but 95%. That's what leadership looks like. And the savings, $50 billion.
By the way, how's the audio? I hope the audio is good. I hope it's not too loud or too. But I want to put it enough loud that I don't want to hear upstairs rumbling, so that's why I have to put it a little loud. All right, thank you.
America informed. Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Anthony Cumia. Thank you for tuning in. Your support is much appreciated. Another story from last week is, and this is something that's been happening a lot and has a lot of people worried. They're scared. Planes, the aviation industry. An American Airlines plane caught fire at the Denver airport. I guess they were, flying somewhere. The engine experienced some trouble. They landed. They were diverted to Denver, landed, and then somewhere between the runway and the gate, the engine burst into flames. So they deployed the emergency equipment and the slides, and the fire trucks came up. And from what I saw from the videos, oh my God, a lot of the passengers had gone out of the emergency exit over the wings and were standing on the wing that the engine underneath was burning. It was on fire. And they were standing on the wing, like waiting for what? A ladder? Waiting for someone to invite them to step off what amounts to the giant fuel tank you're standing on that's got fire burning under it. I understand that a lot of times in these aviation emergencies, the flight crew, and they'll let you know these days, the flight crew, stewardesses, flight attendants, I'm sorry, will tell you that they are here for your safety. They certainly aren't here for your convenience anymore, that's for sure. So I guess they are just there for your safety, and that you must follow their directions implicitly. Well, I'm not going to stand on a wing that has a blast furnace burning under it and wait for instructions. I'm probably going to do whatever it takes to get down from the burning wing. But, people are sheep for the most part. They really don't know what's going on. I saw that last crash. There was some video from that one that flipped over because I don't know what happened. The broad flying, she turned the thing over. so there was video from it. And as people are running out the emergency exit, I saw in the background someone was still hanging upside down from their seatbelt. Just, I guess, waiting for, they didn't hear the seatbelt light. The ding didn't go off. You can now unbuckle. Some people, I don't think they have the ability to really work and improvise and kind of take it upon themselves, have a little initiative to do something like, save your own life. How about that? Too many people wait, and too many people get injured. Like this one, the slides came out, people slid down, and it's like, 12 people were taken to the hospital with injuries. From a slide? How do people get hurt on the simplest little contraption, like a blow-up slide? But this, again, the deeper story here is the aviation industry. And, I've been talking about this online for years. I saw it coming. I read the articles, every so often you'd see Boeing would put out an article, or Delta, American, all of them would put out this little article about their DEI program, their diversity, equity, and inclusion program. So proud of it. Here's our director, a big 8x10 picture, and here's our director of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and here are the goals to make sure we have a diverse workplace. We have stats that we want to reach. We want to reach these numbers. A certain amount of minorities and women and this in the next couple of years. That's our goal. Our number one goal, by the way. That's fine if it's Starbucks, something like that. What's going to happen? Someone messes up your latte. I learned this quite a few years ago. People, the majority of people that fly, do not want to plummet. They never want to plummet. It's a terrible thing. There are many instances where plummeting is good. High dive board, maybe. Is that really plummeting, though?
And I think the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the aviation industry might bring us closer to plummeting when all we wanted to do was get quickly from point A to point B. So it's quite frightening to see that this is something happening in the aviation industry. I hope it gets better. It looks like it is. They're trying to blame Trump for this, but it absolutely looks like it's getting better because at least we're seeing it. When I'd look at these articles, they were frightening because all you would read about is how they're getting people in that I have to assume aren't as qualified. You are somehow lowering the bar, and that bar needs to be consistently raised. It's never good enough. How about that? It's never good enough. So never even think of lowering it. I don't understand why they feel, I've heard this one. People want a pilot that looks like them. I don't know. I want a pilot that looks like Sully Sullenberger. That's what I want. I want a pilot that looks like a guy that was strafing the road of death in an A-10 Warthog back in the Gulf War. That's the guy I want. I don't care if he looks like me. I don't care if he looks like my sister. I want him to be the most competent pilot. And as far as the ground crews go, mechanics, yeah, same thing. We'll be back in a moment. I love my Patriot Cigar Company. Premium hand-rolled cigars blended by some of the best master blenders in the industry.
All right. Let's see. Hello, Jimboos. Hello. Yeah. Oh, this is great. Glad you like it. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. I'm just hanging out here listening to Anthony Cumia. My Sunday nights are now great with Anthony Cumia. He's back on the air. His second week back on the air. And I'm enjoying it. I like Anthony Cumia. I missed. For those of you who don't know, that's a one half of the Opie and Anthony back in the days, back in the late '90s, well, mid '90s or late '90s, early 2000, and then he was on Sirius XM. I believe that was the last job he had in radio. 2014 might have been, and then he's been doing podcasting ever since. So this is return to terrestrial radio, and I'm very happy about that. And there you go. Okay, no music. We don't want to have no copyright. Blah blah blah. Chicopee. YouTube, I guess, has sometimes they do during the live stream. It has music. They might muffle it a little bit. Sometimes that happens. So far with this radio show, it hasn't happened. Last week when I replayed the radio show, I watched it again. I didn't have that issue, but
75 and advertise with
Sanders with Sinatra. I believe before this, yes. I believe before that it was that. After this, of course, is the Animal Welfare Hour with Nancy Sliwa. I know at 10 o'clock is the Animal Welfare Hour. Yeah, so yeah, I believe it was. I just got on the last week, but I haven't heard that in a while. The Sunday with Sinatra, but I think it's still on.
whipping out free speech. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Anthony Cumia Show. Hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday evening. Thank you for joining us. And by us, I mean me. The former National Security Advisor, John Bolton, is a blithering idiot. He really is. I remember when Trump appointed him many years ago, I thought, like, what the hell is Trump doing? This guy's a goof. I remember, and there's certain things you can never forget. You can't get them out of your head. You see a person, and you only see them for that. Presidential elections have been lost on so much. Dukakis with his dumb bobblehead sticking out of the tank during his presidential run, and who was that? Edwards? No, what was his name? The guy, Dean. It can ruin you. And I witnessed John Bolton at Fox News trying to balance on a kid's toy. It wasn't a skateboard. It wasn't a hoverboard. It was this kind of concave piece of plastic that you're supposed to balance on and work out on or something. And he got on this thing and just looked like someone should have been feeding him oatmeal and telling him he's doing a good job. I just thought it was like, oh no. And, you know, on Red Eye, on Fox News years ago, Gutfeld hosted a show called Red Eye, and they had him on there, and they played the clip, and it was so embarrassing, and he was just a joke, and I never got that out of my head. And the guy is just, I don't know, he's an idiot. And he was on, I guess, MSNBC the other day. Of course, it's always MSNBC, or they're all the same anyway. It's all the propaganda wing of the left, the mainstream media. I know, I say it all the time. It sounds like a slogan at this point, but prove me wrong. Show me different. Show me that they're saying and doing things that aren't completely agenda driven. And yeah, I'll debate you on it, but I've not seen even the slightest indication that they do anything but shill for the left and the Democrats and the globalists, as Alex Jones says. They're all part of the globalist agenda. You know, they're putting fluoride in the water to turn all the frogs gay. So, you know, what are you going to do? We understand this. We know it. The media has the lowest approval rating that it's ever had. It constantly goes down. So I'm not surprised seeing all the lies and nonsense on mainstream media, but it's just something that even though you know it, every time you see it, you just go, oh, God, these people. So, yeah, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, he was talking about Trump and Trump's mission to bring peace to Russia and Ukraine. The only person, by the way, that has even spoken about trying to broker a peace between these two nations after years of just unbelievable loss to the people in both nations. It's terrible, just terrible what's going on over there. And all these war hawks, all these, you know, they'll tell you how much they want peace, and then it's just too much money. It's too much money and power coming into them to keep this war going. Peace is terrible for them. And there's really no other reason for it. Why wouldn't you at least sit down and talk? They didn't even want to bring these two countries to the table. Trump, the only one going, we got to get together, like something. So Trump's been doing this. He's making some headway. You hear things. You don't know really what's the truth and what's rumor. I've heard that Zelensky definitely wants to sit down and talk, and even Putin has said he's at least willing to listen to the options of having peace talks, which is, again, more than they've ever said in the, what is it now, 5 years? I don't even know that this has been going on. So kudos to Trump and anyone that truly wants peace in the region. But Bolton, here he is. Oh, good God. Bolton says Trump has one reason and one reason only for trying to get peace between Ukraine and Russia. Listen to this blithering buffoon.
Principal Secretary of State Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz kind of do the talking?
Look, the pressure that Trump has put on for a ceasefire is motivated by one thing: Trump's desire for good publicity and to buttress his case to get a Nobel Peace Prize. You want a ceasefire between two warring parties? They need to decide.
He thinks Trump is only doing this for the Nobel Prize that he'd probably get out of brokering a peace deal between the two nations. It's inconceivable that maybe Trump would like to see these two nations not wholesale murdering each other for another few years, as no one else even mentions it. Isn't it obvious that there's a concerted agenda against Donald Trump when he's literally talking about peace, about, hey, let's stop the slaughter. And they just can't get with it in any way, shape, or form. They just look and go, no. Who's saying this? Trump? No. That proves that there's an agenda there. And what a terrible agenda to keep a war going. What? Because you don't like somebody that wants to stop it. And then coming up with excuses. And let's just go off the rails here and say that the reason Donald Trump wants peace is because he wants a Nobel Prize. Is that really that bad? If it resulted in peace, you heard that old saying, the end justifies the means? If it resulted in peace, wouldn't you just be like, yeah, go, enjoy, put your little Nobel Prize on your mantle, Donald, at Mar-a-Lago, right next to his golf. I won the golf competition. He won a golf competition today at his club. He's the club champion. Literally hours after he bombed the crap out of the Houthis in Yemen, he was still in his golf attire. You gotta love him. So, yeah, let's say that's the only reason that he wants peace, is to get himself a shiny new trophy for his mantle. Who cares? Who cares? John Bolton, a guy that just wants war. And it's this the whole thing of these politicians that want this to continue. And they seem like addicts that need some conflict going on somewhere, or they start jonesing. And the prospect of peace upsets them because they're so used to being part of world conflicts where they just broker death and destruction for their own riches and power, that if someone tries to rein it back, they start itching their arms and they need a fix. They go crazy. They got to start something somewhere else or they'll go nuts. If we really look at the situation, isn't a Russia at peace a better thing for everybody? If Putin is so bad, wouldn't you like to kind of get him into a peaceful mindset than have a war going on where God knows how and when it could escalate if something happens? You know, when war is going on, some weird stuff happens. Countries do certain things. You might make a miscalculation. Whatever happens, it's like it could escalate it. When countries are at peace, look at us in China. We've been in so many proxy wars over the years with China that you can't even count them. During the Cold War, we were constantly fighting China through using other countries. And we're really not in proxy wars with China for the most part now. We're in, corporate espionage wars. They try to steal every patent and item that we invent or come up with. We're in other types of economic wars with China. But it seems like when you strike up an economic relationship with a country, it gets really hard to go to war with them. It gets really difficult. You think China and the U.S. could come to some kind of shooting war where Chinese soldiers and American soldiers are facing each other, shooting at each other? It would be really tough because the entire global economy depends on us not shooting at each other. Russia, not necessarily. It's Russia, the old enemy, the old Soviet Union, still looked at by some as the bad guy, and the United States, freedom, justice for all kind of a thing. And we have to look at Russia constantly as this enemy of democracy. They even use that now with the Ukraine thing. Oh, Ukraine just wants their democracy. What? When was the last election they went to? with this Zelensky guy? When was the last time he held an election? There's no democracy over there. They're not our ally. We might want to support them because we don't like Russia, but they're not our ally. So what good is it to keep this conflict going? Money. Yeah, Bolton knows it. All the politicians that are crowing about keeping this going and supporting Ukraine, all it is about the money that they make with government contracts, all these weapons manufacturers like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, all these. They make weapons. And then what happens? It's all about supply and demand. If you're making weapons and no one's blowing people up with them, you're going to have a supply, not enough demand. So people keep this cycle going, and that's all we've been looking at with this war. Why else would people not want peace between these two nations? Then the other excuse they use is that Russia is evil. Putin is evil, Russia's evil. I don't know if Putin's an evil guy. He seems to be a leader that wants to do the best thing for his country, what he believes is the best thing. Now, you could look at some maniacal leaders of the past and say the same thing. They thought they were doing great for their country. But whether he's evil and that's going to affect our way of life somehow because of what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, I don't know. A peaceful region would be advantageous for the entire planet at this point. But I always bring up this analogy about the kid. He's trying to sleep, he's trying to go to bed, and he's scared, and he thinks there's a monster in the closet. And he yells for his dad, and his dad comes in, and there's two ways the father can play this. And this is how this is the option the government has. The monster in the closet is Russia. That's a monster. Now, you could keep it being a monster. You could tell the kid, I will put a chair against this door. I'm here for you. I'm right in the other room. And I will keep that monster from getting out and getting you. And the kid goes to sleep knowing that dad is the hero. And the government wants to be the hero. That Putin is a monster. Russia is evil. And they're trying to do away with your way of life. Or the dad could come in, open the closet, have the kid come over, take a look, and go, see, there's no monster in here. It's just nothing in here to be afraid of. I'll leave it open. You could look in there. I'll turn a light on for you, whatever. But now the dad walks away and the kid goes, oh, there is no monster. That's nice to know. And the dad walks away having solved the problem, but without the kid looking at the dad to protect him in that instance anymore. He's just going, yeah, that's good. That's what dads should do. But the government wants to make you believe that there is a monster and we need to protect you from that monster. And in the meantime, the money just keeps rolling into these bastards. It's terrible because so many young people are dying. I never thought I'd get really sensitive to seeing the stuff. There are certain videos I just will not ever watch. I haven't, and I will never watch. Most of them are like the old Daniel Pearl video, beheadings. I have never watched one. I never will. I think there are some things that when you see them, they rip out part of your soul, and you never ever get it back. I never wanted to see that or hear it. The audio isn't a treat either, from what I'm told. But I always thought war stuff I could watch. The Gulf War especially. What is it? It's watching FA-18s drop bombs on buildings. You could barely see it. Schwarzkopf doing a briefing during the Gulf War, watching a truck roll across a bridge and just get blasted. And you go, dummy, look at that idiot. What we see coming out of Ukraine is man's inhumanity to man. It is disgustingly inhuman. And you see their eyes. You see the look in their eyes. Something that was very hard to see right before they die, by the way. I remember growing up, the Vietnam War was going, and we would see films that were taken maybe earlier in the week. They'd get it to the U.S. It was not instant, and a lot of it was censored, and you wanted to make sure you weren't going to put really graphic violence into the living rooms of America. Now you see these soldiers laying on the ground, staring up at a drone, and they could barely move, and they're just the agony and sense of defeat in their eyes is the hardest thing to watch. And that drone flies into them or drops something, and they're gone. And I've become kind of sensitive to that, where I can't really watch that anymore either. I don't know. I said it last week that this can't be having a good effect on us for how good this war is supposed to be for us. We're told all the time we got to keep pumping money into Ukraine and fighting for democracy. The Ukrainian people need us. It's good for us. It'll keep Putin from expanding into the rest of Europe, and Americans will have to go into. And I hear all this stuff, and I go, so this is good. Why am I feeling so terrible about it? Why is it affecting us, I believe, psychologically, because we're so exposed to the graphic gruesomeness of real war this time around. Every one of these soldiers seems to have a camera on their head, and it makes it over here lickety split. And boy, oh boy, is it not good to watch. Like I said, I don't think it's healthy at all, by the way. But people don't seem to want peace. But Trump's trying. He's trying. I hope he does. Not just so he gets his little Nobel Prize. I mean, didn't Obama get a Nobel Prize for doing literally nothing? They just handed it to him because he was Obama? I think so. I think I remember that happening. So if Trump can get a Nobel Prize for actually assisting, at the least, in stopping this terrible, terrible war, then good for Trump and his new little bauble that he could put up on his trophy shelf. Sometimes I'm completely disgusted with what's going on in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we will return in moments. Don't go anywhere. This is the Anthony Cumia Show. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Hello, Chrissy. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm just listening to Anthony Cumia Show. And I just wanted to share with you guys on the live stream on a Sunday night here in Yonkers, New York. Weather, it's a little gloomy, drizzly. We're supposed to have rain overnight. And just sitting back here, listening to Anthony Cumia. And just want to live stream tonight for that. So there you go. So anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. And smash the like button. Okay, let me blow it. I don't want to hear the jingle. I don't want to get no copyrights. RRT 08. We got 2 inches of snow last night. Okay. Yeah. I hope we don't get any snow. I'm ready for spring. Today's the 16th. When is officially spring? Is it in a few more days, right? On the 20th? When is the first day of spring? I remember it used to be on the 21st, but I think they change it every year. When exactly is the first day of spring? Is it on the 20th or on the 21st? Or I don't know. I wonder. I need to look it up. I don't have my phone with me. I'm charging it in the other room. So anyway, a few more days of spring. Officially. Thursday. Okay, so you say Thursday. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, Thursday. And, getting ready for the spring. Of course, I have a lot of work to do in this basement here. I had to mount the TV on that wall. I had to take a whole stuff down. I was trying cleaning out the yard first. Get it ready for so I'm going to plant some vegetables out there. I'll call my son is playing upstairs with his new soccer ball. With my wife. That's why you hear rumbling. Anyway, back to the show. Let me lower that down. I don't want to know.
Mamma mia. Yeah, for the Cumia show. This story had me, rolling, laughing. A federal judge, of course, orders the immediate hold on efforts by President Trump, to quickly deport Venezuelan nationals under the rarely used wartime powers intended to resist a foreign invasion. It's called the Alien Enemies Act. Alien Enemies. I just love the name of it, but and I love the fact that Trump is pulling up stuff from the 1700s. This will work, and whatever it takes. This, of course, is to try to deport some of these animals that have been allowed free reign in this country. Open border under Biden-Harris, and the amount of these gang members, violent gang members, that have been allowed to just traipse right across the border. How about they were flown to various parts of the country over the border by the Biden-Harris administration? We found out that was something that was really happening. Putting them on planes and delivering them to a neighborhood near you. Isn't that great? Where were the judges trying to stop that? I don't remember a judge trying to stop those flights while they were still in the air, have them turn around and bring them back to whatever crap hole, I'll say, that they came from. We don't hear that. That didn't happen. But when Donald Trump has to pull some 150, 180-year-old policy out of his hat to try to get rid of these guys and deport them ASAP, of course, there's some judge that wants to step in and stop it, again, because, number one, it's Trump, so we got to stop whatever he wants to do, regardless of how good it is for the country. So we got this U.S. District Judge, James Boasberg. James Boasberg has decided that he would stop this. He ordered the Trump administration to immediately halt efforts to remove those Venezuelan migrants until he has more time to consider whether Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act was illegal. And he wanted the planes that were already boarding and some that were already in the air to stop, turn around, let them back off of these planes on American soil. That's a judge working in our best interest? I don't think so. And neither did the Trump administration or the National Security Advisor. They decided, go screw. We are continuing those flights. They flew a couple of hundred, almost 300, just hardened, terrible, awful gang leaders and gang members back to Venezuela, where I saw films of them getting off the plane. Ooh, it didn't look like they were getting a hero's welcome coming home. That is for sure. They were getting off these planes immediately into the hands of police, some type of law enforcement, maybe military down in Venezuela, and they look worse than Con Air, and that looked pretty bad for those guys. So these judges need to be held accountable. And right before I went on air here tonight, I did hear that there is another judge that has started at least the process to get Judge Boasberg impeached, have him removed. This is, what would you call this, maybe comfort to the enemy? This Alien Enemies Act, years ago, it was for a foreign invasion. If a foreign army, let's say, is invading your country, you could take special actions to remove them. And I guess semantics seems to be a problem with this judge He wants to know what the definition of invaders is and an army. Well, as I see it, you got these guys. What are they from? I love the name of their gang. Their gang. Oh, Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua. I am Tren de Aragua. We must deport them in Cordobas with rich Corinthian leather. What a great name they have, but they're horrible, horrible, horrible people. And Trump's trying to send them back. And what do we get? We get a judge saying, nope, they got to stay until I figure out what an invasion is. How about this? An invasion is a group of people coming that have some type of solidarity with each other over your borders without your permission and murdering your citizens. That sure sounds like an invasion to me. That sounds like something I would classify as an invasion. But again, we get judges like this who don't know what the hell they're doing, and they need to be thrown out. Let's get rid of them. Throw them out. Throw them out, Deb.
This is New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio, WABC New York and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays. 77 WABC News. Start now.
77 WABC News, 57 and some rain on this Sunday, March 16th. Good evening. I'm Liz Radabali. A judge is blocking an effort by the Trump administration to deport alleged members of a Venice.
Wait a couple of minutes. All right, who cares about that judge? Fucking judges. Fucking robe. Fucking asshole. Sorry. Just... Obviously, he's an activist. He's not a judge, he's an activist. I'm sorry. Just pisses me off. Fucking judge. Judge Jerkoff. That's what I call him. I'm a fucking idiot. All righty.
This act has only been used 3 times before in American history.
Anyway. RRT. Okay, Thursday. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that already. I'm kind of fed up with the winter already. Want the warm weather to come here, and I want to go outside, have a beer outside in the nice weather. Tired of having a beer in here. I want to go outside. Anyway. Yes, I saw a couple of postings today. I knew this was going to happen anyway. Voice of America is no longer on the air. There's a lot of opinions on it. My opinion is not going to be a popular one. Voice of America for me is I don't care. And I think NPR should be next. Again, taxpayers' money is paying for all this so-called free news. When you are a federally funded operation and you start bad-mouthing your own country, you know what? It is time to pull the plug on them. So as much as I'm a shortwave listener and radio enthusiast and all that, I could care less about Voice of America. And that is my opinion on that. Because, even if we don't have a radio voice anymore here in America, we don't care. We're done. And the reason why I say that is because it was a mandate. The people voted to clean up the swamp. And that means NPR is next on the chopping block. I say good riddance. Because I don't, if you're going to promote propaganda, especially against your own president, you should not be on the air. Or better yet, why don't you just privatize it? Privatize it, then you can be on the air and be like MSNBC and do what the hell you want. But taxpayer money, no. I'm glad they're off the air. And I'm going to be the minority that's going to say that. But I'm glad. And I'm glad. I'm going to be, you know what? Privatize it. There's nothing stopping them from going private. Nothing stopping them from going private. When you start, this has been going on for a long time. This is many years. Okay, NPR also, many, many years. And by the way, PBS, many years. Okay, when my son used to watch Sesame Street, Okay. And then they had this one Muppet in there now that's like a tranny or something that's trying to convert. You know what? I said I'm done. I'm done with PBS. Because when you start pushing that agenda, remember the agenda was
100 employees.
I'm keeping track of the when you start pushing that agenda and you involve children, you know what? That's when I draw the line. If it means collateral damage, like I'm sorry, Radio Marti, I understand Radio Marti because that transmitter, whatever, gone. That's it. It's gonna be collateral damage. But the people voted for mandate. And we're spending too much money. Like this judge right now, he's trying to deport people, and you got judges like this that wants to undermine the president and what we voted for because he doesn't like him. I'm sorry, we had enough of that. So you know what? I don't care if Voice of America. First of all, I don't. You know what? They beam to every other. Why are we subsidizing the world's? For the world, we shouldn't be doing that now. We're done with that, especially countries that don't even like us. Okay, so you know what? I say good riddance.
Some of the schools under investigation include Yale.
That's what I say. Good riddance. You know what? Nothing's stopping them from going private. And you know what? Or get donation money, and you know what? Broadcast the shit that you broadcast. You know. So me, I'm in the minority. If people want to say that in the radio world, I don't care. I do not care. And I hope NPR is next. I hope they pull the plug on them too. And PBS right around the corner. Pull the plug on them too. I don't care.
The number of cases in the U.S. has skyrocketed.
And there you go. Because, you can't play, what do you say? What's the word? You can't, you don't speak for me. We voted for him. They're not the voice of, they're not my voice. They're the lefty voice, the extreme voice. They're not my voice. So I'm sorry when people listen to that around the world, they're saying, wow, America's really fucked up because we got so many fucked up people here. No, they don't speak on my behalf. Okay? They don't speak for me. Okay, I'm not the one that's trying to indoctrinate children to have a sex change. Give me a fucking break. Okay, when they spew that shit on the air, that's when you know you got to pull the plug on it. Or you know what? And if they want to continue, they can. They can continue with private money.
True, and you look at the monumental change President Trump has made. He's actually signed quadruple the executive orders.
That's why I'm glad they're taking a hatchet and they're cutting all that shit out. And later on, they'll figure out what's necessary, what's not necessary, and so on. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to people. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to people because I'm a radio enthusiast. I'm gonna follow the sheep. I'm gonna be a sheep. Oh, you know what? So and so's right about the last voice of America. No, we're not the last. That's not true. Okay, that's not true. And by the way, if that was the last voice of America, they don't speak for me. Just like NPR doesn't speak for me. Okay, they don't speak for me. This is WABC 770 from New York City.
Live. When do we cross the line? My God, I've been relatively good. I still manage to get myself in trouble, but I have been relatively good. Anthony Cumia show. Welcome back.
There you go.
The left sure likes violence, don't they? For talking about how understanding and sympathetic they are. Violence at the drop of a blue wig. They are violent people. And once again, they prove it with what's going on with Tesla and Elon Musk. The Teslas are being destroyed
out there. In dealerships, drivers are having their cars vandalized. People are scraping swastikas into them and cutting the tires. It's ridiculous. Again, they're so lovely. They're such peaceful, understanding, educated people. Anytime you see people getting physical and really emotional and angry during a political debate, 99% of the time it's the person on the left. They don't know how to react when they don't have any facts. They have pure emotion. That's it. They could sit and ramble on to each other about their politics because it's all based on emotion. How does that make you feel? Ugh, shut it. Facts. You hit them with facts that are irrefutable, concrete, mathematical, and they just can't take it. They lose their minds. They start hitting, throwing things, and lighting things on fire. That's what we've gotten from the unbelievable, great, peaceful left. The latest thing are the Tesla facilities. A lot of dealerships, factories, places that store Teslas have been broken into, and they're lighting them on fire. They are burning down. This is arson. I don't think anybody could argue that this is obviously a crime. The crime of arson. Arson is a very dangerous crime too, because you never know when someone's going to get killed doing it. You hear about people that I was just trying to burn the house down for the insurance money. Oh, there's a homeless guy living in there. Welcome to murder. Welcome to your murder rap, sir. So arson is, oh boy, that's tricky. That could escalate pretty quick. But again, this is all emotional-based morons. So they don't even look at a bigger picture or look 2 feet in front of their face to maybe think about the consequences that might happen if you decide to torch a place. But again, that's just like them. They're very stupid people. They profess to be so educated. We're college educated. And the people on the right, blue-collar workers, didn't go to college. Some of them didn't even finish high school. And then when they're actually in an argument or a discussion with each other, they run away because they're incapable of having an intelligent debate about a topic. So the latest thing, these Tesla things, and MSNBC, of course, the liberal left-wing propaganda machine, they were talking about this, and how much do you have to twist and pervert the truth to have it fill your agenda? Well, you listen to this and see where this dummy goes when she tries to say that this obvious vandalism and criminal arson is nothing more than a protest. Listen to this.
And then you also overnight have this post claiming that protests at Tesla dealerships are illegal. He said today he would label violence against dealerships domestic terrorism. And you know I am judicious in how I play this sound, but I think you need to hear it from him.
Talk about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists. I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. Let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
So just to be clear, you protest a private company, you are labeled by this administration a domestic terrorist.
What? So let me get this clear. She just listened to the president say that violence against Tesla or any company, he didn't even single out just Tesla, any company. And that makes perfect sense. If you have a political agenda and you want people to believe in it, adhere to it, whatever, and you use violence and intimidation and by burning down businesses, that is domestic terror. That is domestic terror. You're terrorizing people until they believe how you believe. So I don't know what they think this is. This lady at MSNBC wants to call it a protest. She doesn't add in the violence part and the arson part, the destruction and vandalism. None of that. She heard Donald Trump say that, and between her ears, through her cashew-sized brain in her head, that's probably working overtime just to keep her heart beating and her lungs breathing, right to her dumb mouth, she says that if you protest, you will be labeled a terrorist and you will pay the price. I don't know what they think. Do they think we don't hear them? Do they think we didn't just hear what Trump said? Do they think we're stupid enough to believe that destruction is protest? We saw this during the George Floyd debacle, when we watched towns and businesses go up in flames. And the same media was trying to say that was fine. That was good. Yeah, there wasn't violence. They're protesting. We see this with our own eyes. We hear it with our ears, and they continue to lie right to us because I guess they're just playing a numbers game. I guess with 300 and some odd million people in this country, they figure they'll get through to enough of them that they can continue pushing that agenda and lying to the American people. But again, let me reiterate, the popularity and faith in the media ain't what it used to be, folks. The media used to have this thing. It was called journalistic integrity. Yes, kids, I swear. And what this was the currency of a reporter. A reporter can't just say to you, you don't know these people personally. They can't just say to you, hey, I'm a reporter, trust everything I say. And then you go, oh, okay. It doesn't work that way. So their currency is integrity, journalistic integrity. And the way they earn that is by not lying to the people. You have a journalist, he's on the news, you watch him every night. And a week, 2 weeks go by, and you've heard all the stories he's told you over the course of a couple of weeks, and you think back and go, boy, those stories really did come to fruition. They played out like he said, and that guy was involved in this, and you start getting an understanding like this guy seems to know what he's talking about. He seems to have done his work, his footwork, talked to the right people, and he's conveying that to us. I will give him credit for having journalistic integrity. Yeah, Walter Cronkite back in the day. I now feel the Vietnam War cannot be it is a stalemate that he had journalistic integrity. He had an agenda. I'm not, completely blind. But, now these people aren't even journalists. They don't want to, they're not allowed to search out certain stories and look into certain stories. Their bosses tell them no, yet they still sit there calling themselves journalists. It's disgusting. Disgusting. But that's the world we live in. And they still do it like we're supposed to believe them. I believed the news when I was a kid. First of all, you barely watched it when you were a kid. But as a younger adult and, in my teens when I started kind of getting an interest on what was going on in the world, I'd watch and pretty faithfully believe what I was being told. Now, I can't even look at people that believe them and not think they're idiots. I think the news people are idiots. They're blatant liars. They're puppets. And then if you happen to watch it and believe it, I can't have any respect for you. Why would you buy into that? They've only proven themselves to be liars. Just liars. I remember the news. Sometimes the anchor. Remember the fun local news guys? I don't even know where they went. The anchor and the sports guy, the co-anchor, the weather girl, and they'd all be like a team, a news team. And their voiceover guy would be, a news team you can trust. And I started thinking, like, why? Who's telling me I can trust you? Oh, you! You're telling me I can trust you. That was the first thing I started really thinking, like, why do I believe I can trust you when you're the only one telling me that I can trust you? So it is good to see a lot of people waking up to that nonsense. Anyway, oh my God. We will return in moments. Don't you go in. Don't touch that dial. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
Yeah. TV Radio 972. I was a big young back then. Back then, probably. But I miss Walter Cronkite, even Dan Rather. It was good until the 2000s when with the story that, yeah, I know. This is before cable news. I know. I as a kid, I used to watch the news. I was probably the only kid around me that used to watch the news. When I was my son's age, when I was 10 years old, I used to watch the news. Local news channels. I would sit there and watch the news, and that's how I would tell my mother because I would translate. And to my mother because my mother, she of course, she used to watch her Spanish programming on channel 41 and channel 47, which is still on today. And of course, I have news in Spanish. And that's it. Nobody else I grew up with did never watch the news. And I used to always wonder about that. Like, I used to always wonder, I used to wonder about that, about how can you not watch the news? And of course, I believed it because at that time, there was some integrity. There was no agenda. There was no, maybe a little here and there sometimes, and it started going away for me. Maybe because I was naive when I was a kid, whatever. Yeah, Brian Williams, he's the one that lied about, he lied about some exaggerate, whatever. Yeah, now that's what I'm getting to. That now he's not about reporting the news. They want to be a part of the news. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened. The reporters were professional back then. They just reported the news. There was no bias. There was no opinion. And sometimes they had an editorial person. And then they will have that preamble before the editorial comes on. The station is not responsible for the editorial content of whatever, because they're gonna have, sometimes they have an editorial portion, and sometimes somebody comes out and talks about something controversial, and that's when the phone calls will come in with the complaints. But now everybody is opinionated. Well, I don't know about getting rid of political parties. I just think that, it's just there has to be a medium. It cannot be too far right. Because there's some stuff that's too far right. Like, for example, I'm not going to get into examples here. And too far left, of course, is crazy. You got to be in the middle. I give you an example with me growing up. I voted Democrat. There was a time in my life where I believed in abortion. I don't believe in it anymore because of what it's doing to a lot of, you understand? So, and by the way, we are allowed to change opinion. We're allowed to change our beliefs. So we're allowed to do that. It's okay. It's okay to disagree. It's okay too. And that's the problem with the left. If you don't agree with them, they're going to ostracize you. They're going to cancel you. They're gonna ruin you. They want to ruin your life. And that's why I couldn't be a part of that party anymore. When I saw that trend happening years ago, exactly. Even Trump was a Democrat, and
would have happened already.
Okay, back.
Year 2000. A lot of the stuff we're just seeing coming out now, technology-wise, and through a lot of innovations that SpaceX and Tesla have brought to the forefront. Those are things we thought we were going to get in the year 2000, the mystical, futuristic year 2000. Holy moly, were we wrong? But Elon is that guy. So I don't even care if you don't like his politics. And again, pure emotion. These dummies, these nose rings and blue hair and whiny crybaby beta men, they can't get past their emotions to see what this guy has been up to for a while. They don't see the Starlink satellites that are delivering high-speed internet to everywhere. Well, everywhere where, Anthony? On Earth. And then probably Mars at some point. Probably the moon first. But they get high-speed internet on the moon. They're just up there like streaming. That's what the moon needs, podcasters. But he's doing amazing things. SpaceX. You're kidding me. You can't see the difference between the decades of NASA and the couple of decades of SpaceX and the achievements that have happened at SpaceX under Elon Musk. Just yesterday, they launched another ship to go to the space station and pick up the two poor bastards that are stuck up there. Because Boeing, with their DEI program, built a space capsule. They took these two sorry bastards up there, and then they went, yeah, something's wrong with the ship. We got to bring it down without you in it. All right, when do we get home? No clue. And then Elon goes, hey, I've been taking ships back and forth up to that station for a while. You want a ride? I'll give you a ride. That's futuristic stuff. When you think like, wait, a guy could just send a ship up there and get the people that are stuck? That wasn't even in movies. In movies, if you were stuck up there, you were stuck. Now they're just sending up, I'll send a ship for you. We'll come and get you. So they sent one up. It just docked last night, early this morning, I guess. And they let off 4 people. They're bringing back these 2 astronauts. And it's amazing. It's very futuristic. Which is, again, what we thought we'd be living in the year 2000. But this is the robo-taxi thing. And look, I've seen some of these other cars down there in Austin. They have like a lot of spinning sensors on the roof and cameras all over them. And it's kind of unnerving to get in these things. And it takes you within Austin, you're not going to have it take you back to L.A. from Austin, but who knows what the Elon Musk future might bring. But he's got these cabs, and the difference is these have no steering wheels and no pedals. They don't have any controls for you to use, which is kind of scary if you think about it. But I don't know if it works. I guess that's what you hope for. The big thing I have, here's my big take on this: DWIs and no license. If you have one of these cars, because they're going to be available to the general public, you could buy one of these and then have it used as an Uber. You know how you would go out and drive your Uber? You'll send your car out to work as an Uber and it'll drive people places, and then it comes home at night. And that is something. But what about DWIs? Can you sit in this car and be drunk? And if the car gets pulled over, will you get a DWI? I know you can in a regular Tesla because it has a steering wheel and pedals. And you are supposed to be able to take control of that vehicle if it can't do it autonomously. But this poses an interesting question. What if you just don't have a license, but you have some money, you buy one of these, and now this car is taking you everywhere, and you have no responsibility to the state or the city to be licensed, and you could drink and be drunk because I'm not driving this thing. I can't drive this thing. It doesn't have the controls. So legally, this brings up a really interesting kind of conundrum that's going on. So it'll be interesting to see. Technology laws have a hard time catching up with technology. A lot of times there's this weird gray zone of time that goes by before the law catches up with technology, and that should be pretty interesting. Because if I was a young man and I enjoyed drinking, which I did when I was a young man, and I would go out with my friends driving, you know, your friends were all drunk too. They didn't want to be the designated driver. So you played police back then. You tried to get home. You look out the bar and go, that looks clear. You're trying to drive straight. You're trying to drive the speed limit. But, it was kind of tough. I would buy one of these. And then you just go out with your friends hammered, and the car drives you home. You get pulled over. Hey, deal with my car. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm hammered. I don't need to talk to you. Interesting concept. We'll see what legally happens over the course of time. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. Anthony Cumia Show. Commercial announcement.
Did you know my mom?
RRT08. Never heard of this radio person. Well, he's been off the air for a long time. He used to be part of the Opie and Anthony show back in the 90s, early 2000. They used to compete against Howard Stern. That was their main competitor, was Howard Stern. When Howard Stern was big, before he went to satellite radio. Of course, Howard Stern is still there. He's still on satellite radio. Opie and Anthony went to satellite radio also. Eventually, they got fired and they broke up. Then they had, I know they had, I'm trying to, I don't have all the time in my head, the timeline. I know they were briefly back on terrestrial radio. I think they did their show like half satellite, half terrestrial. I just can't remember off the top of my head what year that was. And then I know they broke up, and now, well, he's back now on ABC, WABC, and hopefully, it'll be on. Let me read that. O&A were together until 2014. Okay, when Anthony got fired over some tweets. Oh, okay, yeah. Because I stopped listening.
What's the best deal for him?
If Dolan and
I stopped listening to them years ago. I did this free trial for satellite. Oh, not the free trial. I had a 1 year membership on Sirius before the merger. I had 1 year with Sirius before, when Howard moved over, and then I got tired of it. And then I said, let me try XM. So then I had a 1 year trial with XM, and then after that I was done. So I still don't have those radios today. I still have them upstairs. But I just plus the internet now, of course, with the streaming now. Not everything is streaming. So anyway, back to the show.
I was a teenage shock jock. Much older than that. Anthony Cumia Show. This could be my favorite story of the day because I kind of agree with it. And it has to do with Lady Liberty, the old lady in the harbor, the Statue of Liberty. Apparently, there's a guy over there in France. He is a member of the European Parliament. His name is Raphael Glucksmann. Raphael Glucksmann from the French Parliament. And he wants the Statue of Liberty back. Yes. He says France should take it back. because I don't know, we're not worthy of it anymore. I guess is what he's saying. Here's what old Raphael. Oh, wow, we want this Statue of Liberty. The French. Oh, the nuts on these guys. The French bailed out time and time again, and then when everything's all hunky-dory, they decide that they're now big men on campus and can start, pushing people around. We never forget the French. We'll never forget. So here's what he says. He goes, "We are going to say to Americans who have chosen to side with tyrants, to the Americans who fired Lee Selchels for demanding scientific freedom, give us back the Statue of Liberty," he told cheering supporters. "We gave it to you as a gift, but apparently you despise it. So it will be just fine here at home. We amore the statue." I don't speak much French. I just do the accent like in movies. French people, German people in old American movies, they don't speak the language. All you need is an accent, and they know exactly what it is. "What are you doing here?" It's a German guy. Love it. Well, Raphael Glucksmann, I, Anthony Cumia, wholeheartedly agree with your demands. If it were up to me, it would be strapped to a tanker right now, heading eastward toward France. Because I'll tell you one thing, we've had it with the Statue of Liberty. Had it. Maybe it was a good idea when they first gave it to us, and I'm saying maybe. Because even then, it seemed like there were some ulterior motives there that I don't quite agree with. But this thing has been a burden to this country. How the hell did the shining light of freedom turn into a beacon welcoming every piece of garbage from every third world crap hole to just come here like it's an invitation? Thanks, France. Imagine giving someone a gift and it's a sign put on their lawn that just says, "Hey, if you don't have any place to live, just come into this house." And you leave the door open and you just put it there and go, "Hey, I gave you a gift." Oh, what is it? It's the sign out front. It's telling everybody that no matter how terrible of a person they are, they have full range to just walk into your house and grab a bed, maybe your daughter, whatever. Hell of a gift there, France. And then in, I guess, early 1900s, 1901, some broad decided to write something they put on the plaque that doubles down on the whole, "Hey, we'll take every piece of garbage that you want to send us." And since then, it's just been this invitation to some of the worst people ever. So yeah, France, you want it back? Take it. And then LBJ, and we know what kind of trouble he made when he was president, he decides to combine Statue of Liberty and Liberty Island, which I'm not even sure was called Liberty Island at the time, with Ellis Island to make it like a thing, so that everyone will just think, "Oh, Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty." Again, joining the whole immigration thing with the statue that was just supposed to say, "Hey, this place is awesome. It's America, and people came here. They ran away from oppression. They built this nation. That's amazing." Not that our door is open to any piece of crap that wants to walk in. So again, Raphael, France, please unburden us with this from this disaster that you put on our shores. And they put it right where all the immigrant boats came into New York, so everyone could see it. It all just had this motive. Like there's some invitation. No, we don't want you. I think Archie Bunker said it best back on All in the Family another just amazing program from back then, obviously. The character was great, and the stuff he said was so funny and put in such a way that I think Norman Lear especially, and the writers probably, and Carol O'Connor especially, because he was crazy liberal, I'm sure he thought that when people saw Archie Bunker, they were going to be so disgusted and offended by this character that, Meathead and some of his liberal friends would just make Archie look stupid. And it would show how bad bigotry is in the United States and how stupid bigots are. Meanwhile, most people watching were like, I love this Archie Bunker guy because he's right about everything. So it kind of backfired, but thank God we still have it. It's still on TV. They haven't gotten to the point where they're removing that. And boy, they're just some amazing things. This was Archie Bunker talking about Lady Liberty, and it's just perfect.
American history lesson. You don't know nothing about Lady Liberty. Standing there in a hop with her torch on high, screaming out the wall of nations in a royal. Send me your poor, your deadbeats, your filthy. And all the nations sent them in here. I'm falling in my gun. The Spanish PR. The Jap, the Chinaman, the Southman, and they've all freaked them in their own separate sections. Where they feel safe, and then bust your head if you go in there. That's what makes America great, buddy.
Yes, it does. That is what makes America great, Archie. God, was that just perfect. So if you want your Statue of Liberty back, feel free. It's worn out its welcome with us. God, that was so funny. Shows back then, just a whole nother animal, man. They could say and do things. And to think, though, they were the producers, the writers, the actors, all hardcore liberal. And that just goes to show you what liberals were back then, the difference between liberals back then and liberals now. Liberals back then wanted you to see this stuff. A lot of times it misfired, like that, where they thought people were going to hate Archie and they ended up loving him. But they wanted to present that. They wanted people to see bigots. They wanted people to see things they disagreed with or had arguments with, because then they could argue it, they could debate it, and they could say, wow, look at that. We presented this to you to show you how terrible something is. Now, their goals are just to silence anyone with a dissenting viewpoint on things that they, are emotionally disturbed about. You see it all the time. And I've been victim to it a few times, speaking on college campuses. It's a joke. The fact that, you need security if you have anything but the furthest of left-wing ideology, you would need security because they will try to stop you. If they have to physically harm you or destroy your gear that you need to speak or your vehicle that you need to get to and from the venue, they will do it because they want to silence you. And I've said it a few times, the freedom of speech thing, that First Amendment, a lot of people accuse the left of trying to curtail your First Amendment right, your freedom of speech. And that's one thing. But more importantly, they are trying to curtail everyone's freedom to listen, which is a very important part. I could sit here and turn the microphone off and the lights and the camera and everything and say anything I want, and no one's hearing it. So how dangerous could I possibly be? And how controversial could my ideology and thoughts be? It's only when there's a couple of ears to hear what I'm saying that people might deem it dangerous. So a lot of these colleges, a lot of these left-wing protesters, when they're trying to silence you, the people that want to hear the person they're trying to silence should be the most angry, because they're trying to keep you from hearing something that you might enjoy or agree with or disagree with, and want to dish out a lively debate with the person. They would rather just have it not happen at all. No, don't even hear this. Why? Because I don't think it's good for people to hear this. Who are you to say that we shouldn't hear this? Well, I'm someone that knows better because I'm much better educated. I know what's right. I know you're a Nazi. I know, like they have no real reason. And years ago, like I just said, with a lot of these shows that were on back in the 70s, they were liberals. They were liberals that wanted to present this stuff. And it did open up a lot of conversation. People they wanted to talk about these things. But mostly it was just entertaining, which is great. You know, that's something that I think has been long forgotten, left in a faraway wake. The entertaining part of entertainment. Everything has this agenda to it, this underlying, oh, is this a comedy show? Yeah, it's comedy. You like it? Yeah, not really. There are some comics, you know. I know a lot of comics. Some of them, they kind of got infected. They kind of got the bug and got infected with wokeness, and now they throw around their weight under the guise of comedy, yet it's pretty much the same old left-wing agenda. I think it has to do with wanting to get a show. See, I never changed any of my attitudes, my beliefs, what I talk about. I never really changed that around. Some of these guys, though, you sling a Disney contract in front of some people, it's amazing what they'll do. It's amazing how quickly their whole mindset changes on certain things that they were so passionate about before, and then they sign a deal with someone, and all of a sudden, hey, they got a new attitude, as they say. So anyway, if you want to take the Statue of Liberty back, do we have to trade something? You can take it back. What, the Eiffel Tower? I think it was the same guy, Eiffel. I think he is responsible for the Statue of Liberty, too. And that thing's just kind of a joke. Let's be real. The Eiffel Tower. I never wanted to go to France. I've never wanted to go there. I don't know what it is. Growing up as a post-war guy, 20 years later, I was born in like the 60s, but growing up at that time, there were things that you just knew as a kid, and I don't even know how you learned them. Everything made in Japan was junk, so I remember growing up, it was Japanese junk, and the French were cowardly and not really willing to throw down in a fight if something happened. We just knew this. I don't know where we learned it, just from our friends. And I would gather it was from our fathers. Our dads probably had quite the opinion about who were called the frogs years ago, and certain other ethnicities that were involved in the war. So those things. They made for really funny, inappropriate jokes that these days you probably couldn't say. But, yeah. It's just weird to think sometimes. I know I go off on a tangent here, but it's weird to think sometimes where you got some of these things from that you just, Polish jokes. And you're like, oh, they're supposed to not be as intelligent as everyone else because it's a joke. And, Italian, I remember hearing jokes about Italian women, and the punchline was always how hairy they were. The arms, the legs. The punchline was like, I think one punchline was, I'm not wearing black gloves, for some Italian joke. But we as kids didn't put much, there wasn't a hate in it or anything. It was just kind of fun. And like the shows, they were fun. If they wanted to get a message across, fine, but at least make it fun. I think that all ended with the 80s special episodes of sitcoms where they would, we all remember Different Strokes and the WKRP general manager that owned the bike store. That was a child molestation episode, and it was just, it's tough to watch. It was like, why would you do that to a sitcom? They just worked it up where more and more sitcoms had those special episodes dealing with, torn from the headlines, drug use. Like, this is going to be one of those episodes where the audience doesn't laugh. They just go, oh. Tom Hanks on Family Ties, I think it was, and he punches Alex Keaton in the face. Oh, I hated those. God, did I hate those. Off on a little bit of a tear. But, oh my God. Yeah, so take it back. We don't care. We don't care about your Statue of Liberty. How come that wasn't a monument they all wanted to tear down when they were tearing down Confederate monuments or Americana or American traditions, and they were taking those to the forges and foundries to just melt them down? What about Statue of Liberty? I'm sure not all of us agree with that, do we? All right, kids. We will be back in moments. Don't you go anywhere.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Hello, James Farley. Spindle Twister 344. Who is this guy? And is he in his nationwide? That's Anthony Cumia. Right now it's just locally here on WABC 770 out of New York City. This is his second week. He's on Sunday nights from 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. Eastern time. You can listen to them through the WABC app. They do have an app, WABC app. Or you go to their website, WABCradio.com, I think it is. Anyway, just look up WABC 770. So you can listen to it through the website. You click on Listen Live, and you can listen to it there. He also has a podcast, which I wasn't following because I'm just he's on terrestrial radio now, so I really want to hear it over the radio. So WABC signed them on now. Of course, this is to replace they got a couple of people, didn't work out too well, like they're moving people around. Because Curtis Lewa right now, he's running for mayor of New York City. I think I already talked about that, James Farley. I could care less about Voice of America. We voted Trump. Basically, I'll get into that in after the day.
String along to this short copper. It's now or never. String along, cousins. It's now or never.
Another music radio minute coming soon. So keep listening.
It's just an ad. Okay, I thought it was that. Okay, now he's.
Giving out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Whipping out. Is that an old O&A reference? I think so. Shock Jock days. Welcome back, Anthony Cumia Show. Glad you joined us this Sunday evening. Very cool of you, and I appreciate the support. A lot of it coming in. I'm seeing it all over social media, and I definitely appreciate it. Tim Walz is still going around. Why? Didn't vice presidents not even vice presidents disappear when their usefulness is done. And usually they're not very useful anyway. But they just go away. A failed vice presidential candidate. Why are you still doing anything? Didn't Walter Mondale just like disappear after the thrashing Reagan Bush gave him and Carter? Didn't he just disappear? Why is Walz still jumping around like it was close? Oh, you almost had him. This is what the Democrats do. You see Kamala every so often, she'll pop her dumb head up, say something incredibly stupid while probably hammered. And you go, why? Sometimes Hillary crawls out from under her rock to say something incredibly stupid. AOC, she's still in the game, but this Tim Walz guy is just playing by the Democrat handbook, which is don't acknowledge that no one likes us, and we completely dropped the ball during this last election. They just go out like nothing happened. This is the George Costanza quit and then go, what do I do? Just go in like you didn't quit. They're showing up. They're doing news shows. They're talking about their policies, by the way, like people loved them. Like people loved their policies, whatever they were. They didn't really get too deep into that one. But they don't have a second play, is what I usually say on this topic is, the playbook that they have has one play in it. And after you use it a couple of times, everyone goes, oh, that's what you do. They have not come up with anything to change a single item on their agenda and what they want people to think of them. When you think Democrat, politician, what do you think? And it's not good. It's not good. And they go, well, how do we change that? Well, by bitching about the border and how many people are being deported. Well, they're going down, and so are gas prices. How about climate change? No, that didn't work either. They just stick to the same garbage. And it didn't work then, and it ain't going to work now. And what's Walz gearing up for? A run? Is he going to try for a presidential run in 2028? Hilarious, I must say. Here's a clip of him talking about his failed bid, and listen to this pompous idiot not taking the slightest bit of responsibility for them losing horribly. Listen to Mr. Tim Walz.
But this issue around healthcare and the issue around Medicare and the things we're talking about, we've got people now that are exactly like this story, worried about basic human right of health care and decency in their life. And I own this. The idea that millions of people stayed home because they didn't think there was any difference between Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and myself on the ticket, they didn't. They didn't think that. And we acknowledge that.
What? So he's trying to say here, if I'm right, that people stayed home and didn't come out and vote for Harris-Walz because they just thought there wasn't a difference between Trump and Harris. That's what he's running with? You want to stick with that one, Tim? That's what people knew there was an insane difference between Trump and Harris. And that's why Trump got every swing state and blew you guys out of the water. How does he not see that? He's definitely making a run. He is definitely making a run. They stayed home because they just were like, oh, Trump says he wants to close the border day one. That's exactly what Harris is saying. I can't even tell the difference. He's an idiot. All right, let's hear a little more from Mr. Tim Walz.
I think one of the reasons is that when Democrats have been in power, we've been timid about passing things that make a difference on their lives. And why do we have citizens that are in this situation? Why are we at that point when we are the richest nation on earth, and yet our outcomes are 41st, and we spend twice as much as any nation next to us? We should demand a redo of this system in a way that makes a difference on that, because I think it's very hard that we have to win elections. But
okay, you could cut him off now. I've had enough. I want to apologize to the listeners to have to listen to that idiot again. But yeah, they all talk this game about changing things. And he says, like, we put all these resources into something. I assume he's talking about healthcare. And he goes, and then it turns out the results were 41st. Yeah, why? Because of corruption. Because you can't stop stealing money from the taxpayers. And Trump is doing that. Trump and Elon are trying to look through these books and say, oh my God, you guys are robbing us blind. And then this guy and everyone else goes, oh, these people are terrible. They're trying to get their hands on your money. They're trying to cut this and that. It's because of the corruption and because thieves like you people have been in there fleecing the taxpayer forever. Oh my God. He doesn't get it. Maybe he does and he's just lying. But like I said, one play in the playbook. Go on and talk about how awesome you are. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much to you for supporting me, the staff that helped me out with the show tonight. And I will see you all back here next week, Sunday at 8. Until then, have a great week, people.
This is New York's talk leader, the crown jewel of talk radio, WABC New York and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bay. 77 WABC News.
All right, there we go. That was the Anthony Cumia show on a Sunday night here in Yonkers, New York. Yeah, Tasso. It is unfortunate, but I knew it was going to happen. Of course, he tapped. I'm not sure to say tap. That's not a good word to say that. He appointed Carrie Lake to run that. When he appointed her, I had a feeling something was going to happen. Something dramatic was going to happen. And of course, Doge is, I said it last night on my live stream. We're going to go through some pain before we fix this stuff. And I'm going to tell you why. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you why. Nobody's happy about that, but I'm going to tell you why. And I saw this coming for a while. If you listen to NPR, you listen to VOA, it's lefty. It's lefty. It's a lot of lefty. And, I voted a mandate. We need to stop this. We cannot subsidize all this money to hit on our own country. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it that. I think NPR is next. I think NPR is next because they're just as bad. They're just as bad. You see, the problem is it goes back to two things. Well, I'm going to say one thing. Well, maybe two things. They change. The Voice of America 40 years ago is not the Voice of America today. It's not. It's lefty, crazy talk. Anything conservative, they hate. Trump hating, all that stuff. That's not representative of this country. The world here is that they think that everybody here has blue hair, nose piercings and all this stuff. We're the laughing joke of the world. We are. Because of what we put out there. And that's why, to me, it's not useful anymore. Either get back to reporting news, right? Report news, not this lefty shit, not this, we want to convert your kids, or, poor, you know what I'm saying? It was coming. I saw this day coming because they change. It's now agenda. Now it's a lefty thing. Just like NPR, it's a lefty thing. And I'm going to tell you guys in England too. One day, because the BBC, I believe, is subsidized by the British government. I could be wrong on that. And by the way, nothing is stopping VOA or NPR in the future to go private. They can go private. They have an audience. They can go private. But we voted in this country to get rid of all this spending on stuff that's counter, how you say, that's not in our best interest anymore. When you got the VOA bashing your own government, that's not the message you want to send to the people around the world. In the Cold War, it was different, right? It was different. VOA, America's a great country, blah, 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 blah. We get it. You send the message. Of course, this goes back to also the internet. It goes back to the internet. And by the way, I think they're going to shut down the website too. I think the website is off. It's going to get shut down too. Or it's already shut down. But when you start bashing your own government, that's it. I saw it coming. This is NPR. NPR's next. NPR's next. And don't be surprised if PBS is also gone. Because we voted for this. I voted for this. I know people are going to I know some people are going to say, well, you're Danny Shortwave, the radio news. No, it's about the mandate. It's about what we voted for. We are not subsidizing any more causes and people that hate us. You understand? And this is collateral damage for that. Now, at some point, some of it might come back. Maybe some of it might come back. But, we voted for it. I can tell you that right now. There's going to be collateral damage. This is far from over. This is far from over. I think NPR's next. And I saw this coming because I listened to all this stuff. It's like you listen to it. I listen to all this stuff too. Last night I'm listening to BBC, NPR. I don't listen to NPR during the day pretty much anymore because they just, I don't agree with them. They just don't align with anything. It's not even like fair now. They just straight up hate. It's straight up, like you could say, it's like hate speech for people like me. It's hate. It's lefty hate stuff. And this is what a lot of people voted for, because if you can't agree to disagree, then we're going to cut you off. And that's what happened. This is this is the thing. This is same thing's going to happen in Europe. You think we're the canary in the coal mine. Okay? We're the canary in the coal mine. Europe is, if you watch and listen to a lot of stuff in Europe now, people want change in Europe. People are fed up. People are fed up with a lot of things. You cannot force certain things on people. It's not going to work. You cannot, especially when you go after children. When you go after children and you're saying it's okay for my child to go to school and the teacher behind my back and tell my son, oh, you're not a boy, you're a girl. And we're gonna give you this and that. Because believe me, it's not happening. You think it's not happening, it is happening. Okay? And the radio, and when you hear it on the radio and they say it's okay with that, that's when they lost a lot of people. Like I told you, I was a Democrat a long time ago. I was a Democrat for a long time. But they lost me years ago. Around Obama. That's when they lost me. They lost me on that. They lost me on all that. Listen, I don't care about gay marriage. You want to get married? That's my. I never had an issue with that. I don't care about if you. I don't even care about you want to be a transgender. I don't care about that. But when you start messing with people's kids, that's when you fucked up. That's when your party fucked up. You don't go after people's kids. No, this is an executive order. So these are executive orders. That means that, for example, when the next president comes, he can reverse it. So these executive orders, as of right now, he shut them down. And I know people are going to say, oh, it's against free speech. No, it's not against free speech. It's against, you know what? If the people are paying tax dollars for NPR, for VOA, whatever, that radio station should not be talking about our country, about hating our own country. Either report stuff, just report stuff down the middle. Just report the news. But when you go on there and you bash your own government, and I'm not talking about disagreeing. You can disagree with things. I'm talking about when you constantly, when you turn to MSNBC, no taxpayer is going to fund that. I'm not going to fund for that. As much as, yeah, you know what, it's kind of fucked up. It is fucked up. But I don't want to fund for, and I don't think I ever said it here. I might have said it in my live stream a couple of times about NPR. I don't want to fund my money for NPR if they're going to just constantly be like MSNBC. Why should I do that? Exactly, Todd. They should have no bias, just the news. And they turned into that. Same thing with Voice of America. I don't care what anybody says. They're all biased toward left. That's it. And that's not America. That is not America. I'm sorry. That is not my voice. That is not my voice. That's not my voice. I know it sucks because a lot of stuff got caught in the crossfire too. I believe Radio Marti's gone. I believe also Radio for Asia, Radio for Europe, which whatever. Again, when you go into that whole lefty thing, I'm gonna say it right here. I'm gonna say over and over again. Everything the left touches, they ruin it. They ruin it. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, that is a fact. Everything the left touches, they ruin. Well, I don't think they're happy about that. So I don't think Cuba's happy. I think it's just Jay's Farley, America was Walter Cronkite. And you got to understand something. When there was a Cold War, right? We didn't talk this way about our way of life. We didn't. But now that's not the case no more. You understand? The VOA and NPR, they're not they don't go down, they're not down the middle. They don't report the news like down the middle. Eggs were CWAA, the eggs were a lot cheaper. I don't want to get into the whole debate about eggs, please. Because eggs is one thing about this virus. I don't know. I don't really care. You know what? You know how I solved that issue with the eggs? I don't buy them. I probably lost a few pounds in the last few months. Eggs is too damn high. Don't buy them. That's how I do. I boycott with my wallet. I go, you know what? Hey, don't buy them. So that's it. I don't know about that. I don't invade a panel, please. My train of thought was, yeah. So again, I'm not surprised this happened. I am not surprised that he shut down because I think he mentioned it before during the campaign that he was thinking about shutting because they're not fair news. They're not fair. They don't broadcast down the middle. And when you go on the air and you start talking about, anti-Trump shit to the world, who's going to subsidize for that? Of course, the left is going to subsidize for that. But remember, I hate to say people, Trump won. He did win. So I don't want to say overwhelmingly, because it was really by 5 million votes. The people spoke. You know, exactly, fake news. TV radio attention to Wins and other similar stations are probably only because they're private. And by the way, nothing is stopping. Let me tell you something. Nothing is stopping any of them from going private. You know, they can rent. They can, if they want to spew hatred toward America, they can set up their own transmitter with their own money and spew it, as long as they don't violate the FCC rules. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You know? I don't know. What's your point, bro? What's your point? That you're a lefty? Crash the stock market for no reason. All 4D chess, right? Yeah. What's your point, bro? What's your point? Are you a lefty? I don't know. What's your point? What's your point? Just say you hate him. Just come out here and say I hate him. Just say it. You know, my thing is that they're not the same voice of America that we grew up with. That's my point. And eventually, you know, the people voted. I know that you said you're not happy about that, and you didn't vote for that. But I saw it coming. He hinted about it, and he appointed Carrie Lake, and it was gonna happen. I figured there was gonna. I thought there were gonna be all these job cuts. I didn't think he was gonna shut it down completely. But you know what? They're shutting down a lot of stuff now. Everything's getting shut down because they want to purge out all the the fat. Yeah, 4D chess, bro. It's better than what the last corpse did 4 years ago. People are crying about these USAID, whatever, USAID jobs and all this shit. Nobody was crying about the Keystone Pipeline. On day one, 10,000 people lost their job with a stroke of a pen from Biden. Nobody was crying about that shit. You see the difference between you left fuckers and us? We're not out there protesting, blocking roads, burning cars. We don't do all this shit. I had to deal with 4 years of this fucking corpse. Okay? That's the difference between me and your fucking sorry ass. But you guys are different. You guys are just a different fucking animal from where I was a Democrat. You guys are totally fucking different animal. Now you guys are like crying babies. Every day you guys crying about one shit after another. Every fucking day. Constantly crying about shit. You know? The man has been in office not even what? Today's what? March 16th. Not even 3 months. You know? And yeah, we're going to go through a lot of fucking... He said it, and I believe... And just like... I'm going to say, just like Reagan, the first year we went through a lot of shit, and then things got better. It's not going to happen overnight. So people stop bitching about your fucking eggs. I don't give a fuck about your eggs. Don't fucking buy eggs. That's it. Don't care. I don't care. That's it. You know? Keystone Pipeline, price of gas went through the roof, and inflation happened. You know? You understand? We had to go through some pain with Reagan. Remember, Reagan inherited Jimmy Carter's fucking mess. And for a year, we went through some shit with Reagan. Remember, he fucking fired all those air traffic controllers? He fired all of them. He said, if you don't come back by Monday, you're all fired. And by the way, what he did, he fired the shit out of them. And we were better off without them. Because last time I checked, federal workers don't demand shit. Okay? They just do your fucking job. That's it. You got a nice, cushy job. All he asked them to do was show up to work on the USAID thing. And, we're going to work from home and we're going to collect a check. No. Taxpayers of America has spoken. And this is collateral damage for this. Okay? I don't care what other people around the world are saying about, the VRA, it's the last voice of America. It's not the last voice of America. Just stop it. Just stop being so fucking dramatic. It's not the last, voice of America. It's not. First of all, this is an executive order. The next president can easily reverse it. Okay? So, you know, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna be forever. And if it does come back, it's gonna come back as a different manifestation of itself, which is not spewing lefty shit. Okay? Because you lefties did it to yourself. And nobody but to blame but your lefty. All you lefties out there that keep spewing this fucking, you know, train shit down people's throat. This fucking we got, you know, the border should be open for everybody type shit. No. We should be paying for endless fucking wars. No. Okay? Spending billions of dollars on condoms for you know, Zimbabwe, whatever the fuck this place is. Okay? No. The people have spoken. And whether you like it or not, he's going to be the president for the next 3.5 more years or whatever the fuck is left of. And then that's it. And hopefully you can clean up some of this shit. Because you lefties haven't learned your lesson. You're going around there burning Teslas. This man's trying to do great shit for humanity. And all you're doing is fucking burning down Teslas, crying like little fucking bitches. You know? And this is the result of it. People got fed up. And when you guys don't agree with shit, what do you guys do? Burn shit down. Cancel people. That's what you guys do. So don't blame him for VOA. Blame the left. They did it to themselves. Everything they touch, they fuck it up. And NPR is next. And don't be surprised, PBS also gone. Because you guys don't know how to keep shit down the middle and keep it cool. You know? You gotta be cool, bro. You can't be cool when a person disagrees with you and you go fucking crazy like a little fucking petulant kid rolling around the floor crying. Wanted to burn down half of the fucking city and shit like that because, you know, like this fucking anti-Semite shit that's going on, all these protests, because of one fucking guy. Because of one fucking guy. They're shutting down traffic over there in Manhattan. Because you're fucking anti-Semite. Because they want to deport his ass on a student visa, and they want to deport him, and people going crazy over this shit. You lefties haven't learned shit. You guys keep doubling down on stupidity. You know? That's why this shit is shut down. Because everything you guys touch, you guys infect everything. I can't watch local TV no more. Because it's so fucking infected with the left shit. Even radio, you know, I'm having a hard time finding stations to listen to. You know? Thank God we have WABC. At least. It's some voice of reason here. You know? So stop crying, people, about, oh, where's America? The sky's falling. You know, you did it to themselves. They did it to themselves. We didn't have this problem for fucking, whatever, 70 years? Whatever, how long this shit's been on. But, you know, they start going crazy lefty because of one man. That's what it is. All this shit is a hatred for one man. And they did it to themselves. You know, with the Russian collusion. It started with the minute he came down the elevator with the Russian collusion shit. Non-stop reporting on this shit, even though everything was a lie. The media did it to themselves. So you think I'm going to sit here and shed a tear because they got shut down? Fuck no, I don't care. I don't care. You understand? I do not care because they did it to themselves. You know, they can come and, you know, they can come back on as a private entity. You know, like remember the Air America Radio? Remember that? I remember listening to that. Remember they had Air America Radio, and I tried to listen to it, and it was just constant lefty shit. It was a lefty program. It only lasted a couple of, not even a year, maybe 2 years, and they got shut down. Ratings went, you know. I remember Rachel Maddow when she was there. I used to listen to Rachel Maddow, but you imagine that. Imagine that. This guy right here used to listen to Rachel Maddow. Bro, I've been there. I've been to that side. I didn't like the way it was going. That's why I got fed up. Because you guys kept fucking pushing it. You know? And like I said earlier, when you start going after people's kids and want to groom them for, you know, that's when you fucking cross the line. Because a lot of parents out there ain't going to go for that. I'm not going to go for I'm a daddy, 10-year-old boy. I ain't going to go for that. Ain't nobody going to groom my kid. Okay? That's when you draw the line on a lot of fucking people in this country. People got fed up. And that was it. All the girls that want to play a sport, and you got a fucking, a fucking a man playing against women. You know, how you think that's going to work out? You know, when you push this crazy fucking agenda that trans men are girls, you're fucking stupid. You're not dealing with reality no more. You're not. Okay? And that's what they were spewing there. And that's why they finally got what they got. They fucked around too much, and they found out today or last night, whenever it happened, that is over. If you're gonna be a station in this country and you're gonna broadcast to the world, you better be fair down the middle, or you ain't gonna broadcast anymore. And that's what happened to them. Okay, that's my. I could be the. I know right now I could be the minority in this, but you gotta look at the big picture, and that's what happened. This is not the same station that was broadcasting around the world when the Soviet Union was in, when not the Soviet Union and all the Cold War. It's not that now. It's everything's anti-Trump, anti-Trump this, Trump the anti-Elon, the anti this and that. What do you think was going to happen to it? Especially when the people voted for, you know what, drain the swamp. You don't think they're part of the swamp? Yes, they are part of the swamp. Remember, the media was the one that brainwashed a lot of people. The minute he came down the elevator and he was elected, that the Russians, Russia paid him all this money. He's a Russian spy. He's a Russian steal dossier and all this crap. And they were nonstop relentless with this shit, this lie, and that's what it turned out to be, a big fucking lie. So now, I'm gonna say it one more time: fuck around, you found out. We were this close to having Kamala as president of the United States. If you like that alternative, you can vote for it 4 years from now. But right now, he's going to clean house. And that's what he's doing. He doesn't give a fuck about the war right now. He wants to clean house. He wants to clean America, make America first. We you know how much money we wasted? And common sense, I don't know if you ever asked this question. I ask this question all the time for many years. Why are we sending money to countries that don't even like us? I never understood that one. Yeah, well, exactly that too. You don't understand? You know? The wasting, and you know why they're all upset about it? Because I'm sorry. You know why a lot of these fucking Democrats are upset about Doge right now? Because they got their hand in the cookie jar. You don't think all that money was going? You don't think a lot of that was kickback money? A lot of that is kickback money. So when they send $3 million to Guatemala or whatever, but was it Bolivia for transgender children's books or something like that? Some crazy fucking shit. Why are we sending money over there for this stupid shit? When we could keep that money, when we could send that money here to our veterans that are homeless and things like that, or build more affordable housing. Because rent is too fucking high here. You understand that? Do you understand that? I always ask these questions over and over. Even when I voted Democrat, why are we sending money to a lot of these places where they don't even give a fuck about us and they hate us? You understand that? I always ask those questions. This is years ago. This is way before, the millennium. Even in the 90s, I asked this question. If they can give everybody money in this country, instead of sending all that money to overseas, we will be a more prosperous country. Okay? Our standard of living will be a lot higher. But we're pissing money off to countries that don't even fucking hate, that fucking hate us. Forget about the ones that don't care. The ones that even hate us. And I never understood that. Yeah, I know it sucks. Believe me, it sucks that this happened. But, looking at the big picture, it was coming. It was coming. It was coming. And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to go out on a limb. People are going to say, NPR is next. And I'll be surprised PBS eventually gets... I don't know if PBS is a quasi... I think they just get funding. I don't think it's all money from... I don't know how the PBS... I think PBS is more funding from... I believe it's... I don't know how that works with PBS. I think it's more state. Each state has their own funding for that. So I think PBS is a state level thing. I have to look it up. But NPR, I believe NPR is going to be next. I believe NPR will probably be next. Because that's been talked about before during the campaign. The NPR, I believe he even mentioned it. But I know there was chatter about that before, about the NPR. So I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked by this. So when people start crying about the sky's falling, I'm going to say lefties always do it to themselves. They do it to themselves. Everything they touch, they ruin it. They ruin it. If I'll go backtrack to one thing about USAID. If USAID was feeding, building water wells in some part of Africa or feeding or whatever, that's fine. But when you start, when he broke down all that shit about sending money for a transgender book and this and that, that's not helping people. That's not helping people. Now you're trying to indoctrinate people. I think the original mission for USAID was to, just help people around the world. I get that. But it didn't. It eventually turned into one bloated money laundering agency. That's what it turned into, for useless causes. And that's what happened. Because why? The left. Everything they touch, they fucking ruin it. This is for everything. This is every aspect of life you could talk about. Every time the left gets their hands in it, they ruin it. Just like Section 8 housing. Section 8 housing shouldn't be there for... You shouldn't be on Section 8 for 30 fucking years. Section 8 is just to help you temporarily with housing until you can be on your feet and get your own, housing. But people use the system. You see, people use the system, and we have general. I'm gonna hope I don't pronounce it. Generational welfare people now. We have generational welfare people. I know people that had public housing. That was their grandmother's public housing. It was passed down from grandmother to their parent, and now he's on the same public housing apartment. Generational shit, like a fucking, like passed over. Grandfather, I don't know what they call that shit. This is insane. And I know these people don't really need the fucking public housing because they're fucking doing all this shit. They're working off the books. And I know, but trust me, I know some. I even know some that they were drug dealing, living in public housing, collecting benefits, and drug dealing. Okay? That's how fucked up the system is now. And he's trying to clean this shit up. And these people can sit there and fucking cry like little fucking spoiled little fucking children rolling around the floor trying to fucking clean up this shit. Because right now, at the rate we're going, Elon Musk said it, we're going to be bankrupt in a few more years or 10 years, whatever it is. Because we're bleeding cash on useless stuff. And I think that's what happened. That's what happened. You know, it outlived its usefulness. It was great for the Cold War. It was great. But now, you know, hey, listen, it's happening in the private sector. I'm surprised people are shocked by this. They shouldn't be shocked by this. It's happening in the private sector. The radio stations are getting shut down left and right. Why? Because they don't make more money. The number one thing is they don't make money. They're not making money. That's why they get shut down, right? So what's the difference between a federal funded radio station, especially one that's broadcasting hate for their own government? You think that was going to last? You think it was going to get axed eventually? Because people were calling out on it. Remember when he first pointed at the camera and he told the media, "You guys are the fake news." He put the he spot the flashlight on them, and ever since then, they hated him even more for it because he pointed out what was going on for many years. Is that the media has changed. The media doesn't call it down the middle no more. They don't. They don't. And that's what happened. VOA lost their mission statement. They lost their mission. When I say mission statement, they lost their mind, basically, with the constant bashing of Trump. What you thought was going to happen. And the people that voted for, including me, got fed up. We said, fuck this. I'm not paying for this shit. I'm not paying taxes for they can, undermine what life I'm trying to, what my view of America is. Because according to them, America's racist. America is, cops are killing black people. According to, them, trans are girls too. This nonsense shit. And of course, I don't agree with none of that shit. So why my taxpayer money paying for that shit? And a lot of people spoke, and that's what happened. And that's what happened. When you become a propaganda machine for the left, it was going to happen, and I'm glad it did. I'm in the minority. I'm glad it did, because even if it does come back in the future, or if it never comes back, I don't know. People better take notice. Don't fuck around. You fuck around with the people are gonna fucking stomp on you. We fed up with this shit. I'm fed up with it. Okay, and that's what happened. The people spoke. And I know some of you I didn't vote for this, whatever, that's fine. I saw this shit coming, and NPR's next. And there you go. And that's my rant, and that's what I say about it. I saw it earlier today. I saw some videos on there, and I said, boo-hoo. It was going to happen, and it did. Because that's what happens. That's what happens when the left touches everything, they ruin it. How did it survive 70 years? Or whatever it is. I don't know when, off the top of my head, I don't know. Somebody correct me here. I don't know how long. Probably more than probably 80, 90 years. I don't know. Whatever. And it got so fucking left. 1942, okay. 83 years. All right, there you go. And it turned so fucking left. I bet you in 1942, it was not what you hear now. 1942, it was like, rah, 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 rah. We got to defeat, we got to defeat Nazi Germany. And we got to defeat Japan. And, rah, rah, rah. Invest in war bonds and all that stuff. That's not today's, well, not today because they're not on the air no more. That's not yesterday's VOA. If you go listen to that shit now, it ain't that now. It's anti-fucking, anti-Trump, you know, fucking lefty shit. It's all lefty fucking hate shit. It's all Elon is bad. Elon is whatever. You know, this guy, the one that's getting deported in Louisiana, he's the Mahmoud, whatever Khalil, Mahmoud Khalil, whatever the hell his name is. You know, it's all about now they want to, you know, they're putting him on a pedestal. He's a fucking freedom fighter or something. That's the problem. That's the problem. When you start loving, when you start loving, I'm gonna be not loving. When you start hating your own country and you spew that, and we're gonna pay for that, what do you think is gonna happen to it? What do you think is gonna happen to it? And people were clamoring for it. They said it, and he appointed Carrie Lake as the you know, to run it. And I said, why is they appointing Carrie Lake? And he said they're gonna cut it. They're gonna cut it. Now, am I gonna agree with everything he does? No. Sometimes, you know, yeah. You know, like some of this tariff shit, he's going like crazy about it. But you know what? It is what it is. It's unfortunate that we had to get to this extreme. It's unfortunate. But you know how we got to this extreme? Because of the left. They were out of control. They were just out of control. You know, like Anthony Cumia said earlier. Remember all those PTA mothers or the town hall, whatever, you know, the mothers that were didn't want their son to be groomed, and they would throw them out, and the FBI would start investigating them, and basically they labeled them domestic terrorists, even though they were not violent at all. And what we have today we have people burning Teslas, kingdom, burning Teslas, you know, destroying Tesla. If somebody's driving down the street and they drive in front of a mob, you know, they wanna, you know, go after anybody with a Tesla. How is that civil? You see, the left do it to themselves. They did it to themselves. So before you start blaming, you know, oh, just blame Trump. No, blame the left for bringing that shit down, for ruining it, because that's what they did. They ruined it. Because I don't listen to it. I haven't listened to it in a while. Well, first couple of times I listened to it, it was just okay. This sounds like NPR. I even watched the. I even have it on my app. I have the VOA to watch it. And when I watch it, that's what I see is anti-Elon, anti-Trump, anti-bullshit. You know, you know, like this is not what taxpayers are paying for. It's not. And I'm not even going to entertain the other people's opinion, especially the ones that don't live in this country. You know, like the one that told me on my Facebook, if I voted for Trump, I should unfriend them. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, bro. I unfriended you. I unsubscribed to you. You know what? You're done. You're done with me. Because I don't talk that way. But because you don't like my president, you tell everybody to unfriend you. That's exactly what I did. So am I going to listen to your opinion now when your opinion is totally, you know, distorted about my president? You don't even live in this country. You don't know nothing about my president. You don't know nothing about him. I grew up with him. I grew up in New York City. I remember how he started. I remember when he owned the New Jersey Generals. I go way back with this man, following him. When he a real estate developer. Of course, you know, he has a whole bunch of ventures. I've been to his casinos. When he had the Taj Mahal, I used to go down there a couple of times a year. Trump Plaza, excuse me, Trump Plaza. That was the you know, Taj Mahal, all that shit. I know, I could say more informed. The man was a Democrat too. And the man, you know, the man was, you know, He been married a few 3 times. He's a ladies' man. I get all that shit, bro. I get all that shit. He's not squeaky clean. But his derangement, Trump derangement syndrome is fucking crazy, yo. The left is just tripling down on this stupidity. They really are. I mean, really, like, you know, and then what happened on the joint? What is it? The you know, not the what they call State of the Union, the joint congressional, not standing up for anybody. That 13-year-old boy with the cancer, with the brain cancer, and they made him a, you know, they honorary Secret Service agent. They didn't even clap for that. They didn't even clap for that. You know? And he was so excited, he hugged the Secret Service, you know, guy. Duffy, right? Duffy is his name. You know? And then, of course, the girl that got murdered in Texas, and they renamed her Wildlife Refuge after her name. And then they clapped for that. None of them stood up and clapped for that. That's the party that you fucking, that's the party that represents you, the left. You know? Are you proud of that? Of their behavior? So I don't want to hear this shit about they had it coming. They had it coming. Because they were all lefty bullshit, blah, 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 blah. We hate Trump, blah, 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 blah. And now they hate Elon, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blue sky, blah, 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 blah. It's, you know, everybody's going to blue sky, blah, 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 blah. What do you think was going to happen? Really? You thought they were going to they were going to stay on the air while he was, while they're cutting every agency in the book? Yeah, I'm going to say it one more time. NPR's next. There you go. And I'm out of here. I'm out. Good night, everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. But yeah, don't be surprised if NPR's next. And with that, I say good night, everybody. Bye-bye.